Hey, welcome in, everyone. I'm stealing a little bit of thunder from Felix on his What It Means series, and he can't make it today. So we're talking Jaxson Dart and the rumors that he is in the student directory at Ole Miss, which means he's likely going to end up there. And we'll talk kind of like what the implications are there. I'm Chris Moxley. You can find me at Chris Moxley19 on Twitter, over at Campus to Canton. We give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the Campus to Canton podcast feed. We have a lot of great stuff over there. This is just one little thing that we have going on, news related, transfer related. So it's you'll see a bunch of these as they come out. We did one on Jahmyr Gibbs, one on Jermaine Burton, etc. So there's some good stuff. So let's talk Jaxson Dart. Assuming that Dart does end up at Ole Miss, I think it's a pretty big coup for Lane Kiffin and team. Dart is definitely an upgrade over Luke Altmaier, and Altmaier played pretty okay to end the season. We could see what he did in a Lane Kiffin offense, and I think that was pretty exciting. But Dart going there is a little bit different. They have some okay weapons. There's not anything special like the DK Metcalf, AJ Brown era at Ole Miss, but Jonathan Mingo is probably going to operate as the wide receiver one there, and I think with Dart there, it's a huge deal. They also brought in transfer Jordan Watkins from Louisville, who I think is a fairly good player. So I would not be surprised if he operated as the wide receiver 2 in that role either. It wouldn't. I think you could have 2 productive wide receivers there. It sounds like Michael Traganham, a tight end from USC who decommitted with Dart, are both tied at the hip, and it sounds like Trig is going to end up there too. So I think he becomes a productive player, really athletic. I'm really excited to see what he can do in this offense as well. But downstream, let's talk about kind of like Jaxson Dart himself. So he was a really late riser in the recruiting process to begin with. He was, I think, ranked outside the top 1,000 until he actually got to he played his last year of football, and his last year of football was really spectacular. But with Dart, a lot of what we've seen is more about the upside and the tools that he has long term. So we know that he's incredibly athletic. He's a great arm. He can have pinpoint accuracy. Some throws that he made last year, especially in that game against Washington State, were spectacular. That he came in for Keaton Slovis and threw for 391 and 4, and by far his best game of the year. He had another 300-yard performance against UCLA, threw for 325 and 1 with 2 interceptions. But again, you're getting a player with an extremely high ceiling, despite being underwhelming at times last year. And I think that Kiffin's a really good fit for Jaxson Dart. He passes in neutral game script. So, but by that we mean win probabilities between 20 and 80%, and it's down 1 and 2, not in 2-minute drill. So like the purest form of the way that a coach wants to call the game, basically. He passes about 46% of the time in this, which is definitely above average. It's pretty close to what Lincoln Riley does as well, if you want to kind of think about it that way. So I think the offense the passing opportunity should be there, the same way that they would have been if he had stayed at USC. The big question that comes to me, I think, is they have a new offensive coordinator. Jeff Lebby went and joined Oklahoma, and I think that's a great get for them as well. But they're bringing in Charlie Weiss Jr., who is only 29 years old. Last season, he was at South Florida. He had been on Lane Kiffin's staff before at FAU, so there is familiarity there. And I do think that he'll run something similar to what Lebby did run, or similar enough. So I expect Dart to be a very productive quarterback in a Lane Kiffin offense. I think for CFF purposes this year, he's at minimum top 15, probably a top 12 option for you. I think this is probably one of the second or third best landing spots that you could, realistic landing spots, of course. Obviously, you want everybody to go Alabama, but realistically, I think this is a great fit for Jaxson Dart and his profile, because he has some rushing ability. He ran for 24, 36 yards twice last year, and that includes sack yardage. So, he does have some wheels and athleticism, and I think that's the big draw that a lot of people will see with him. But top 12 guy, I think, for 2022, and then you have to have him in your top 10 at minimum for C2C Devy ranks at the quarterback position. I think you can make a reasonable case for top 5, given that he is tied to Lane Kiffin, and we know that he's going to be productive. They're able to manufacture yards extremely well in that offense, and his stats will be totally fine. The question then becomes, okay, well, I think it positively impacts Zach Evans. I think the offense is going to be more efficient. I think that's a huge win for him. Not that Altmaier wasn't going to be, but I think this is Dart's in a different tier. I do expect Altmaier to transfer as well, so I think he could see a bump, especially if he goes to at a G5 level. I think he could have a Power 5 offer, though. I wouldn't be totally shocked. There were some teams on him last year that he could still go to. Wide receiver wise, I still expect Jonathan Mingo to be the one. I'd be really surprised if he wasn't. But I think Jordan Watkins is probably a value late in C2C drafts and freshman drafts that you're going to have. I think it's really exciting what they can do outside of just Mingo. And Michael Trigg is probably owned, but I think the upside for him this year is really high because it's a little bit thinner wide receiver room than we've seen recently. So wheels up for everybody in the situation except Luke Altmaier, who could be wheels up because I think he's going to be starting somewhere else next year. So great situation all around. Really excited for Jaxson Dart if the rumors are true and our sleuths at Ole Miss do come through for us. So keep an eye on the situation. But overall, really excited to see Dart with tie with Lane Kiffin and to really see what a Charlie Weis Jr. offense looks like. So for again, you can find me at Chris Moxley 19 on Twitter, but give us a like on YouTube, give us a follow on YouTube, give us a subscribe to our podcast feed at Campus Canton on social media, across social media, Campus Canton. You can find us pretty much anywhere. But yeah, let's hope that this ends well for really all parties involved, and I think we're all really excited about this.